What happened when an ancient woman had to survive pregnancy through the coldest months of the year? Imagine being heavily pregnant, and then winter arrives. The days become shorter, the nights become colder, and suddenly, staying warm isn't just about comfort anymore, because pregnancy was already demanding on the body. So how did an ancient woman survive those months when winter could make almost everything harder? The answer began before labor. Winter meant relying on food that had already been stored. Grain, beans, dried and preserved foods could become the foundation of the household's meals. Fresh food could become harder to obtain, while the family still had to make its supplies last. And pregnancy didn't pause because winter had arrived. A woman still needed food, while everyone around her was trying to stretch what they had. Then came the fire. It cooked the family's meals, provided warmth, and during the coldest months could become the center of the entire household. But what if fuel was running low? The same fire had to keep everyone warm, prepare food, and heat water. And winter created another danger that had nothing to do with the cold itself. Distance. If a pregnant woman suddenly became ill or went into difficult labor, reaching outside help could become much harder when bad weather made travel difficult. Ancient Egypt gives us a glimpse of how seriously women's health was already being treated. The Kahun Medical Papyrus recorded examinations and treatments for reproductive problems. Some involved oils, plants, drinks, and fumigation. These weren't specifically winter remedies, but they show that ancient people were actively trying to deal with problems surrounding pregnancy and women's health. And during winter, having a treatment was only part of the problem. The woman also needed warmth, supplies, and someone nearby who knew what to do. Ancient Rome gives us a clearer picture of childbirth. The physician Soranus wrote extensively about pregnancy and labor and described the role of the midwife. Roman childbirth normally happened at home. A midwife could work with female assistants, and Soranus described a birthing chair that allowed the woman to sit upright during labor. Warm oil could also be used. Now put that scene in the middle of winter. A woman is exhausted from labor. The fire is burning. Water and oil are being prepared. Women are gathered around her. And outside, bad weather could make getting additional help much harder. The medical knowledge hadn't suddenly changed because it was winter. The environment had. A difficult birth was already dangerous. A difficult birth when fuel was limited, travel was harder, and help was farther away could become even more frightening. That's why childbirth wasn't simply the woman's problem. The entire household became part of the process. Someone maintained the fire. Someone prepared food and water. Experienced women offered practical knowledge, and the midwife guided the birth. A household could prepare for winter. It could store food, gather fuel, and keep family members close. But none of those preparations could guarantee what would happen when labor finally began. Now, imagine reaching the final weeks of pregnancy after months of dealing with all of that. Then labor begins. The fire is burning. The midwife arrives. The household gathers around her. And suddenly, everything they prepared comes down to one question. Will it be enough? Because surviving a winter pregnancy wasn't just about keeping a woman warm. It was about keeping her entire support system working until the moment her baby arrived.